The Forgotten Palace on the Edge, San Francisco's Cliff House. A palace on the edge of the Pacific Ocean, beauty on a cliff, and a place where everything can vanish in a single moment. Imagine it. Wind crashing into the rocks, waves lifting salty mist into the air. Inside, mirrors, balls, champagne. Outside, the abyss and the sea. A dream house that dies again and again. Fires, an explosion, a storm, bankruptcy. Each time, a new promise. Each time, new ashes. Owners change, the city changes. Advertising, gambling, saints and swindlers under one roof. Next door, the fantasy of the millionaire sutro. Bathhouse labyrinths of glass and steel. And then, silence, ruins, locked doors. People stand in the wind and ask, what really happened here? Was it just bad luck on the edge of the earth, or someone's will? Why did a palace that was meant to live forever remain only on postcards and in other people's memories? And most importantly, what is stronger, the sea, the fire, or the human desire to build on the edge of an abyss? If you enjoy deep investigations into Gilded Age architecture and the families who built it, please like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which house to explore next. Your support makes these detailed stories possible. Chapter 1. Opening Shot. Edge of the World. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Today's story takes us to a place where Gilded Age ambition met the cold patience of the Pacific, a ridge where palaces rose and fell with almost mechanical regularity. The address is 1600 Great Highway, San Francisco. The year is 2020. Maya Rodriguez pulls to the curb and steps into the wind. Before her stands the Cliff House, shuttered. Windows dark, doors locked. The ocean beyond keeps roaring, paying no mind to human plans or losses. Mr. Alvarez meets her at the side entrance. He has worked here for 30 years, bartender, manager, keeper of stories. In his hands, a cardboard box. Inside, laminated menus, matchbooks from rooms long closed, a black and white photograph in a cracked frame. The photograph shows a building that no longer exists, on a cliff that is smaller now than it was then. Palaces can stand on cliffs, he says, handing her the box, and still fall. This is the story of the Cliff House. Not one building, but many. Not one dream, but a chain of them, each raised over the ashes of the last. A restaurant that opened in 1863 as a modest white house perched on black volcanic rock at the edge of the continent. A destination that became legend. A business that burned, exploded, collapsed, and reopened so often that locals stopped counting. And a place that, in 2020, closed perhaps for the final time. Not with spectacle, but with the soft click of a lock and a cardboard box of memories. The Cliff House sits, or sat, at the far western edge of San Francisco, where the city ends and the Pacific begins. Point Lobos bends south. Seal rocks jut from the water like broken teeth, black and seemingly permanent. Land's End trails north, a path where hikers still walk the line between ground and emptiness. On clear days, you could see the Farallon Islands 27 miles offshore. On foggy days, most days, you saw only white. A drone rises now over the scene, the camera tilting down. The building clings to the cliff face. The waves below are patient. The rocks are older than nations. The structure, cream-colored stucco, red tile roof, loosely Spanish Revival in its present form, looks both enduring and fragile, the way all human work looks against geologic time. The story begins in 1863. The California gold rush had ended, but San Francisco was still dizzy with momentum. The city had leapt from roughly 1,000 residents in 1848 to 25,000 by 1850. Money flowed. Ambition flowed. People looked west, toward the ocean, and asked what could be built there, at the edge of the world, a white house on a black cliff. That was the first cliff house. Simple, wooden, perched above seal rocks. The builder's name is lost to time. The reasons for building, ambition, speculation, the American impulse to plant a flag on dramatic ground, are clearer. People came. At first, by carriage, later by streetcar, to stand at the edge and watch the seals. They ate, they drank. They stared into the open water and felt the jolt of awe. Maya lifts the menus and finds a letter at the bottom of the box. The paper is brittle, yellowed, water-stained. The date in the upper right reads, January 1907. The ink is faded, but legible. The edges are darkened, not just with age, but with smoke. She reads the first line. I watched it burn from the ferry. The letter stops mid-sentence. The rest is ash. Chapter 2. Boomtown Breath. The letter in Maya's hands ties together two fires, two endings, separated by decades. But to understand why anyone built at Land's End at all, we have to rewind. We need the city that rose from mud and ambition faster than any other in American history. James Marshall finds gold at Sutter's Mill. News spreads like fever. Men abandon farms, shops, families. Ships anchor in San Francisco Bay, their crews vanishing inland in pursuit of rumor and luck. Hulls sit idle and rot. A settlement that barely existed detonates into life. The numbers make the surge impossible to ignore. In 1848, San Francisco holds roughly 1,000 residents. By 1850, 25,000. By 1852, closer to 36,000. An instant city thrown up on hope, speculation, and the gravity of gold. Winter streets turn to mud, summer streets to dust. Buildings rise in weeks, wood frames, canvas roofs, conviction instead of foundations. Yet gold alone does not explain the cliff house. Money is only part of it. The newly rich needed places to spend, to be seen, to pretend to civilization at the lip of wilderness. The city pushed west. In the 1870s, Golden Gate Park opened, about 1,000 acres of deliberate green rolled over dunes, a declaration that San Francisco would have beauty, culture, and Sunday destinations for families in their best clothes. Streetcar lines followed. By the 1880s, you could ride from downtown to the ocean for a few cents. The trip took under an hour. The destination, Seal Rocks, Ocean Beach, the Cliff House, became a weekly ritual. On summer Sundays, thousands arrived. They watched the seals bark and scrap on the reefs. They ate oysters, drank beer, and leaned into a wind that never tired. By day, the Cliff House wore respectability. Families, children with sticky hands, women clutching hats, the gusts tried to steal, men discussing proper matters over proper meals. By night, a different register. Backroom gambling, strong drink, whispered deals, money changing hands beneath tables. Reputation in early San Francisco was fluid. The city was too young, too rough, too recently invented to insist on fixed rules. Numbers crept onto menus and posters. Streetcar fare, 5 cents. Summer footfall, anything from 500 on dull weekdays to 5,000 on holiday Sundays. The Cliff House expanded. More rooms, a larger dining hall. The original White House grew turrets, porches, and the fussy skyline people called gingerbread. Victorian exuberance carved in wood, painted white, set on volcanic rock with the Pacific as proscenium. Photographs from the 1870s and 1880s show a structure both solid and improbable. 3 stories, clapboard siding, bay windows staring out to water, a wraparound porch where visitors point toward the seals. The building clings to the cliff with visible resolve. Behind it, rock and surf. Before it, people, hundreds on busy days, buttoned into stiff formal clothes, posing at the continent's edge as if they had arrived at meaning itself. The city believed in progress then, believed geography could be negotiated, that the future would dwarf the past. The Cliff House embodied that faith. It was not just a restaurant, but a promise, a declaration that San Francisco faced the ocean and the ocean faced San Francisco, and that the bargain between them would be profitable and permanent. Streetcars ran every 15 minutes on weekends. Oysters came fresh from the bay. Champagne, so the advertisement swore, came from France. The view came free. Stand at the window, look west, see only water running to Asia. Feel the floor tremble when a heavy wave struck the rocks below. Feel alive, feel modern, feel part of something built to last forever. Except, of course, it would not. Chapter 3. The Dynamite Night. Forever in San Francisco has always been negotiable. The city learned that lesson again and again. The Cliff House learned it first in 1887, on a night when the water itself seemed to detonate. January 16th, 1887. Evening. The Cliff House is full. Sunday diners lingering over late courses, gas lamps throwing warm halos against the winter dark. The ocean is rough, but not unusually so.